Hi, Muse. It's me again. Yeah, it's me. You can't get rid of me. No matter how hard you try, you can't. I'm always there behind you, ready to tap on your shoulder and say, "Hey, Muse, I have a great idea." Oh, wait, that's your job. Never mind. What was I thinking? I have something kind of fun to talk about today with you, Muse. I should start this by saying I Profundus has been filmed. It's in the can, and hopefully it'll be ready for people to view very soon. I'm very proud of it, and it was a very bittersweet ending because I get really weird with every production that I'm involved in when it ends. I get kind of maudlin because we had given birth to this thing and then we killed it. So it's, it's a sad affair for me. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. I'm going, Fear 3 is now being proofed. Ready, almost ready for publication. Yay. And I am also getting ready to send The Ghosts of Brookhaven to the publisher for edits. Yay. And I have already started writing Fear 4. Yay. But I'm going to pause that so I can go back and start writing the fourth book in the Reaper series, which will be called A Midsummer Night's Reap. And that's not what I want to talk about either. Here's what I want to talk about. The Mary Sue. Not the website, the Mary Sue, but Mary Sue. The concept of Mary Sue. This was brought to my attention by the editor for Fear 3. In the middle of the book, she said she was concerned that something I had introduced was a Mary Sue. And she had actually sent me a message about this, and I said, don't worry, it's not. Trust me, it's not. And by the time she got to the end of the book, she said, you're right, it wasn't a Mary Sue. Now, what is a Mary Sue? The term Mary Sue came about, I think it was around 1974, with one of the very first Star Trek fan fictions. Someone had written, I don't remember the author's name, but someone had written a fan fiction with a character named Mary Sue. Mary Sue was a perfect character. And Captain Kirk and Spock both fell in love with Mary Sue. Mary Sue had won a Nobel Peace Prize, a Vulcan Prize, and some other prize. In other words, she was incredibly intelligent. She had absolutely no flaws. She was perfect. And thus was born the Mary Sue. Now, here's the thing. And I'll relate it to Fear 3. My editor thought that I had introduced not a character as a Mary Sue, but a thing as a Mary Sue. Something that was perfect. Something that would pretty much allow my characters to exist in the apocalypse without problems. Little did she know. And as soon as she said that, I wanted to say, well, actually, I did say, you don't have any worries about that. But here's the thing, and how it applies to fiction. You can't introduce a Mary Sue. You really can't. Because when you introduce a Mary Sue, you pretty much gift your characters almost an invincibility. That nothing can happen to them. Or that they are going to fall in love with this character and there's not going to be any flaws. And if there is a real Mary Sue, I would like to meet them. Because if there was a real Mary Sue and someone fell in love with him, they would exist in a perfect relationship, at least from one side. And that doesn't exist. Now, I know it's really tempting. We all want to do it at times. We all want to introduce the perfect character. And sometimes we're tempted. Sometimes we're tempted because, number one, it serves in perfect counterpoint to our other characters who are incredibly flawed or marginally flawed, or however they're flawed. But the thing is you introduce a Mary Sue and you create impossible standards for the other characters. Now, even if you are tempted to introduce that Mary Sue, you really can't. You really shouldn't. Because, and here's the real heart of the issue. The thing that makes characters interesting is not their perfections, but their flaws. Right? And the thing is that we all have this different ideal of what perfect is. Your idea of perfect is not my idea of perfect. And for me, at least, a perfect person is not really that interesting. At least, especially not in literature or in television or film. Because, and this is kind of petty, but it's truth. The majority of people out there, be they readers or viewers, despise and resent perfect people. Because what it does is that it turns the mirror on them and to remind them how imperfect they are. And average people, not just average, even above average people, cannot relate to a perfect character. We cannot relate to a Mary Sue. Because we all have flaws. We are not perfect. We cannot even fathom what it would be like to be perfect. So when you add a Mary Sue, you add a completely unrelatable character. And it's not even a character that people would read and go, ooh, I wish I was like that person. Because readers are not dumb. They know that the perfect person doesn't exist. So effectively, what you've done is you have blown up your reality by introducing a character that cannot exist. And that's even in fiction, which is crazy, I know, because you're writing a universe. You've created this universe. It is of your own making. And you cannot introduce a perfect character. I mean, think about this. Let's continue with the Star Trek theme here. In the Next Generation, they introduced Data, who was an android. Now, one would think that an android could be perfect. But Data was not perfect. Yes, Data was incredibly intelligent, could make decisions faster than any human, could do all sorts of things that humans couldn't do. But Data had a flaw. Data wanted to be human. Data wanted to be imperfect. Look at Spock. Spock, from certain perspectives, Spock could have been seen as perfect, but he didn't have emotions. He had Ponfar. Oh my gosh, I'm really showing my geekiness, aren't I? So, even characters that on the surface might seem perfect are not. Now, if they introduced Data without that flaw of wanting to be human, desperately wanting to be human, it would have been a different story altogether. He would have been completely unrelatable. No matter what Brent Spiner did with the character, Data would have been unrelatable. But by introducing that one flaw, all of a sudden, people got him. Because we all have flaws. And sometimes those flaws are what drive us forward. Whether it is a drive to get beyond that flaw, fix that flaw, correct that flaw. That's what we do, a lot of us. And we beat ourselves up for those flaws. And we beat us, and we beat, and we beat, and we beat, and we beat. So when a character is introduced, and they have flaws, we go, ah, I get it. I feel for you. When a Mary Sue is introduced, we're like, oh, no. No. And it's not just that. It's not just relatability. It's that sometimes writers introduce a Mary Sue to overcome a plot issue. And that is a big no-no. No matter how much you want, yes, you can throw in a deus ex machina, God from machine, which is what it literally means. But it's rare that it really, really works well. And throwing in a Mary Sue to fix a plot point, well, that's just lazy writing. And you don't want to be a lazy writer. Trust me, there's enough lazy writing going on. All you have to do is flick on your television. You can see all kinds of lazy writing. When you introduce a plot point that is hard to get around, that your characters struggle with, that's drama. And that's a good thing. And the more those characters struggle with that plot point, the better off they are. The better off you are. The better off the readers are. The better off the story is. You throw in a Mary Sue, and that plot point just magically goes away. And people are like, I don't buy it. They don't buy it because there's no such thing as a perfect person. They can't relate to it. So, the moral of the story is no Mary Sues. Be they people, places, or things. Right? I mean, you've got this plot point, and you don't want to throw in a human that's perfect to fix the solution. So what do? You say, they need this gadget that'll get them through this. So voila, all of a sudden this gadget appears. No. Even if you do make this gadget appear that will help them fix this plot point, the characters don't know about the plot point. You know what I mean? The hurdle. But even if you throw that object at them, at least make them have to struggle to figure out how to use it. The flaw of the object is that it's impossible to use, or possible to use, probable to use, but very difficult to use. Or you throw in an object that only a perfect character can use. And there's no perfect character in your universe. So what happens? Oh my gosh. Don't Mary Sue your Mary Sue. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, writing's hard. It really is. And then when you really, really get into the nuts and bolts of it, and you find out that there are more rules than you ever imagined, and some of them aren't rules, they're more like guidelines, you start to think, oh, how am I going to do this? Well, be realistic. Even in your fiction. I mean, I write some crazy-ass fiction that is far from reality, but even though I toss that reality boomerang as far as I can, I always make sure that it is grounded in some semblance of reality, that it doesn't take a long stretch of the imagination to make it work, to kind of justify how things are. That's when I wrote iZombie I knew that what I wanted to write was a zombie story that was actually plausible. And I try to approach everything I write that way, that it's actually plausible. Now, there are series like the Reaper series. Well, we don't know if it's actually plausible because we don't know if there's actually a Grim Reaper lurking out there. So, but even still, in that series, there is no Mary Sue. They all have these terrible flaws sometimes. Sometimes they're little flaws, but they all have flaws. Don't depend upon, don't even hint about or flirt with the Mary Sue, because your fiction will be lesser for it, and people just won't buy into what you're trying to sell them. The perfect person doesn't exist. The perfect character shouldn't exist. And that's the reality of it. And that's what I have to say to you today, Muse. I'm busy. Got a lot of irons in the fire. But I feel like I'm kind of trying to make up some lost ground with my publishing. So It's probably going to be a while before I endeavor to or embark upon another production. So I don't think my writing will pause at all. So it's full steam ahead. And I'm excited. I am absolutely excited with what's coming up. I have actually haven't been this excited about the prospects of what I'm producing in a very long time because it's all really, really cool. And I'm really happy with the way it's going. So, yeah, time to take a breath. And remember, don't beat yourself up. Don't let imposter syndrome open the door and peek its little head through and say, hello. Slam that door in its face. Put away your flogging device. Lock it away. Stop flogging yourself. Stop beating yourself with anything and everything you can. And just accept the little victories. Because sometimes those little teeny tiny victories are the only thing that's going to get you through the day. And don't be a Mary Sue. Or a Karen. Unless your name is Karen. Don't be a lowercase Karen. I don't know why I threw that in there. Anyway, Muse, I got to go because I'm starting to ramble. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'm glad you're a part of this little world that I've created because you being a part of it makes it so much better. Because you, my friends, are awesome. Why did I even start that? I don't remember. I guess I'll keep doing it. Pew, pew, pew.